In this video, I'm going to read data from a Delta Lake table. First, I'm going to create a Spark session object. Then I would read the data from an already created Delta table. And finally, explore the Delta table using SQL. In the previous video, we have already created a Delta Lake table called Netflix titles, and we inserted data from a PySpark data frame into that Delta Lake table. We are going to use the same Delta Lake table which we have created in the previous video to read data. So first I'm importing the libraries, then I'm creating a Spark session object and read the Delta table. I'm creating a data frame df and using spark.read.format, and here the format is delta. After this, I have to give the path to that delta table. So it is in my workspace. This is my path. So this is how we read the delta table. Now let's explore the data from the delta table. Print schema gives the schema of the data frame, and df show gives the first 5 rows of the data frame. Now let's use SQL to explore delta tables. I'm writing a SQL query. Select star from delta dot backtick, and I have to give the path. Open workspace. I'm limiting the results to only 3 records, and then closing this. So df2, let's call it now spark dot SQL query df2.show. This gives me the same result but by using a SQL query. Now we can get the history of delta tables by using describe history method in SQL. Describe history delta dot backticks, and the path to that data history is spark.SQL query history.show truncate false. Then we get the history of the delta table. This is not clear. Let me show you in VS Code the same data. So the same Jupyter Notebook is opened in VS Code for better legibility, and we could see the history of the operations we did on this delta table. So for example, we created the table on so and so timestamp, and there are some other parameters like operation parameters, job, notebook, cluster ID and stuff. And then we selected some items, and that is also maintained. The version history is maintained by the delta table for us. Now, the retention period for table history can be configured by using alter table. We can query any version of the table that was created in the past 60 days by default. That's the retention duration for delta tables. And even if you delete it, it would be there for 14 days. So you could restore or roll back to the previous versions for 60 days, or even if you delete it for 14 days. These are the default properties, and you could change them. So this is how we read data from a delta table, and we explore data from the tables. To solve for this video, thank you for watching.